Hello, everyone. Jak Syn here on behalf of Fiend.com and Future Daze, and today it's another exciting episode of Artist Interviews. Today we're sitting with Jesse Bishop, the street cleaner. How you doing today, Jesse?
Doing great. Doing awesome. Just installed an air conditioner in my little room here. Loving life. Things are great.
Well,
Under the
great.
circumstances.
Well, that's great. I mean, now you're going to stay cool in that recording space of yours.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a room within a room, an insulated room inside of another insulated room. So it doesn't let the stank out, I guess, to put it the best way possible. So
I guess in the immortal words of Ace Ventura, pretty hot in these rhinos.
That's the second movie. I think the first one's my favorite.
I know what you mean. I love the first one, too. All right, so today we're going to ask you a couple of questions and see where it goes from here. Are you ready to do this?
Let's do it.
All right. What are your top 3 moments performing live?
Oh, okay. So, top 3 moments performing live. That's a rough one because that I can't quantify that. It's rough to do. I've had a lot of really fun, amazing experiences playing live. I've been fortunate enough to do a whole hell of a lot of really cool shit. I got to say, being able to play with bands that I really like, acts that I really, like listening to. It was neat opening last Halloween for Stabbing Westward. That was a strange and interesting thing. I'd never played at a House of Blues before, so that was something new. So that was up there. That was a fun experience. So I don't know. I couldn't really quantify all of them, but I can tell you exactly what the number 1 show was, the number 1 live experience. That was opening for Jak Syn in Eugene, Oregon at the Cowfish. I had never had people, I'd never seen so many folks get so stoked for an encore before and literally demand it. And they would not let you off the stage until they got some more. And that was a really awesome thing to watch. And I great memorable moment. I love it.
Well, you are too kind. You are too kind, sir. I'll tell you that. That was a really great show. The energy was there. The people that came out to see that event, it was just amazing. That entire tour was amazing. Being able to play with you every night for about 2 weeks, and having all of that happening. I think that for that event, especially the Cowfish Dance Club, people were moshing for you. I remember that entire mosh pit for your set. I remember that.
I think that it was you and I and CogX and Protector 101, and I think that was a show that town does not get. And it's really fun. When you're on tour and you're playing shows and stuff, it's really fun to go to some of these places that otherwise don't get shows like that or don't get things that are usually off the beaten path. And you could tell, especially in downtown Eugene, that the majority of I got one of their circulars that have, their the weekly hauler or whatever they call it, which will have like all the different shows. And there are all these Jack Johnson type guitar playing, ukulele having guys. And then we come in there with a couple vans worth of noise and big old heavy thumps. And I think the closest thing that they had down there in recent history was they had a bear dance night. So that was like the closest thing that they could get to like an electronic show. But then when we showed up and we had, CogX, who undoubtedly is one of the greatest performers in the genre. I'm just going to put that out there. He is just pure balls to the wall energy 100% of the time that he's on stage. Protector 101, who is one of the most recognizable people in the genre. Street Cleaner and Jak Syn and you finished off the night, and it was like an upside down triangle, I guess, of starting and just building and building and getting bigger and bigger. And for it to be in that little place, in that little dance club in Eugene, Oregon, that was awesome. That was one of the best. So
that was a very memorable night indeed. Another one that I thought was really memorable for you, that one of my personal favorites too. I mean, don't get me wrong, everything on the tour was amazing that we did. Every event that we did. Actually, two stand out in my mind for you. One was, of course, the Las Vegas event that we did at Scarlet Dance Night in Las Vegas. That one was really amazing because when we went in there, we'd already played there, like Jak Syn already played there, and we knew what the crowd was going to be like. So having you come in there and then you do your thing, you doing your thing to people who've never heard you before was just amazing. I mean, they crowded that entire club for you. I mean, that was like, what, 200 plus people packed into that club for you. I mean, you stole that audience that night.
Thanks. Yeah, that was definitely a big standout right there. Going into it, I was a bit out of my element, apprehensive because I didn't really know all what was going to happen, and it was pretty obvious that that it wasn't really my crowd, I guess. Like I hate to say that, but when I'm trying to write 80s-ish vigilante sounding movie music and do that kind of thing, and then when the DJ started and they were playing Combi Christ and the really crunchy uncy, like angry industrial, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna win these people over, but fortunately, we had a really the guy running the event was really awesome, and he hopped up there and made me sound as rad as possible, and I originally, I think, was going to play a 30-minute set, and then once my 30 minutes was up, he's up there at the sound booth going, more, yeah, more, let's get him going, and because it just went that well, and I was really excited about that, and it was pretty cool. I got to play my whole set, and I had everybody engaged the whole time, which was really, really something else. That was a magical moment. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Right. That was a really good show. And also the second memory that stands out in my mind is the show that you performed in San Diego, when you played with Perturbator and Ghost. That show was amazing. I know recently with social distancing, we had an event where you finally got to debut that footage from that night that took place in 2019. To me, that was a really high energy show. It didn't feel like you were at a club. It felt like you were pretty much almost in an arena. You know what I mean? With the way that you were backlit and everything like that. That was a great night.
The way that club was set up, it is exactly, if you remember in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, when Shredder is giving a speech and he's up on the railing and he's like grabbing the railing and he's talking down, there's the levels, and it's like a warehouse and there's like levels of railings on the side or scaffoldings that people are standing on, and that's the way that club felt. It was like 3 stories, and each getting to look up, so you have the floor level and you have the stage and the floor, and then there's just rows of people up the walls and in the back, and I felt like I was Shredder giving his big speech to the Foot Clan, and that felt really neat. But yeah, that was definitely San Diego's not necessarily the easiest place to put big shows together and to get rad stuff happening, just because of the way it is, tried really hard for a while to get shows going in San Diego, and it's not really always the easiest thing to do, but that was really a big moment for me because that was my first real big show in my hometown. So I felt really excited about that. Yeah, that was really awesome. That was a 700 person night. So yeah, Perturbator and Ghost really brought it that night. That was a Sunday too, so that was really something else. And it was really awesome to be able to share the stage with those guys and these dudes that I had only ever talked to on the internet. I got to see them in person and play with them. So that was really awesome. That was a fun night. And I got to bring Protector 101 up on stage with me to do a song, which was super awesome. But yeah, that's definitely a highlight too. And while we're at it, while we're talking about it, I gotta say my first holy shit show, like, wow, this is amazing show, was definitely gonna be Nightwave. I played Nightwave LA #2, and that was the big moment for me that changed things. That you know, I knew that this is what I wanted to do, but that was the moment that I realized, no, this is what I need to do. I need to do this.
That was a very high energy night. Being able to have Nightwave LA #2 there at the Echoplex, it's like being able to see you up there on stage playing to that giant room. It really was the highlight moment. I know for us, it was like, you know, us as DJs, like we were really just warming the crowd up for you guys at the end of the night. You and Shredder 1984, like at the end of the night, you guys really brought it, and the crowd stayed till the very end. Like they were there, you know, because when you guys went on, you guys were going on between like 1 and 2 in the morning, and they were there till the very, very end. You're talking like an 800 plus person room, you know, full of people till the very end, you know, watching you do your thing up there. So that was a really memorable performance that sticks out in my mind. I should say memory #3 for me is that one that sticks out big in my mind. What would you say is your favorite album / EP that you've worked on?
That second album, Payback, was a big game changer for me. I had spent my first album trying to make something that I thought I wanted to make, but the second album was the one that it was just like, there's dropping features and stuff. Like the first album, I was seeking counsel so much from other people, like, what would you do and how does this sound to you? And the second album really was a lot less of that. And, you know, I just kind of made what I wanted to hear and what I wanted to do. And it was neat because it was still early in the world of synthwave. The first album was 2013 and the second one was 2014. And it was neat to be part of that earlier movement of synthwave there. But what I think the thing that really blows me away with that second album, Payback, is the fact that it really, a few months after it got released, it grew legs of its own and it just started running. And before I knew it, this thing that at the time was just kind of like a fun hobby to do ballooned into something that was much, much bigger than I ever thought it would be. So for that album to explode the way it did, and for it to be, you know, you go to bandcamp.com and it was right there at the top. It was the #1 top selling album, and it just sat there at that chart for a while, and it was just really blowing up. And for me, it really made me have this feeling of value, that something that I made is being valued by people. And, you know, there were posts on Reddit that were trending and getting big, like that all of a sudden, you know, it was this big thing, this 80s throwback, you know, synthwave thing. But at the time, I don't think people were really saying synthwave that much. They were calling it outrun, which I'm totally cool with. And it was this neat thing that happened. And from after that, it was really, for me, I knew that I needed to put more time and effort in Street Cleaner and not let this thing go. I've been in all sorts of bands and music projects my whole life, but nothing that had ever taken hold the way that album did. And so I felt like after that, I'd put out a lot of releases that were trying to recapture that, but they never did. They just missed the mark. And I'd been missing the mark a lot. So I stopped thinking about albums and I started thinking about just writing some music. I went on a small little mini tour, a little 4-show tour with Facehugger, The Encounter, and Protector 101 in, I believe, 2017, and spending you know, like a solid week around those three guys and being able to like talk about music and workshopping things and just really really kind of opened my mind as far as what I should be doing, that I should stop trying to make something else. And I'm not trying to be too disparaging on Payback 2 and Shutdown. I'm not trying to talk too much smack about those, but I really don't think that that's my strongest work. I think one of my strongest songs is off of Shutdown, but it's not the strongest album. But a Revenger is got to be up there as well as one of the things that it's 4 songs, but I think it's like just 4 all killer, no filler, meaty songs from beginning to end. 3 of the songs that I'm most known for are off that EP, which only has 4 tracks. What's funny is the track Revenger off the EP Revenger is the worst song on Revenger. But Murder Cycle, A Hunting Season, Bitches Leave, that's all on Revenger. And that kind of, that was like, my friend Brooks calls that the Zack Snyder reimagining that in December of 2017, Street Cleaner morphed, so 5 years later or 4 years later, Street Cleaner morphed from being this, brooding 80s vigilante, and now he's a angry 90s vigilante, I guess. And so it's, ever since I did that, I haven't turned back. To summarize it, what my favorite EP or album that I worked on is still going to be Payback, and a close runner-up is Annihilation, and matched with Annihilation is going to be Revenger.
Like when you listen to these albums, you can really hear the difference in the music. You can kind of tell where you're coming from, kind of what you're thinking in those spaces. Like Payback, is definitely not going to be the same as Revenger. Like listening to Revenger, it sounded like you were on a mission in Revenger. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm going to go get these guys. I'm going to take them down. You know what I mean? And you can see that, how it changes from every release that you put out. And I know when you put out Hardware and Heatwave, like those showed 2 different sides of you. Like your softer side, and then your heavier side on those 2. And I think I remember you mentioned like earlier on you were doing a kind of a test with those 2 to see which one, to see what got a better response. And I think in the end it was Hardware that ended up winning out over the Heatwave, because people have come to expect that from you. That hard edge, that like ferocity you have behind your music.
I had put together an album, I guess, an album's worth. I'll put it this way: I put together an album's worth of songs, and it was like 9 or 10 tracks, and it wasn't a cohesive album. I like to do concept albums, which start when it's like the 3-act. Plays, they start one way and then they have ups and downs, and so you can listen to an album from beginning to end and have this experience, or you could select whatever tracks within that you like. But this one was not like that, and that's what I'd done with all the releases before. And I had shown it to a buddy of mine, Brooks from Creaky Lantern Games, and he said this album feels like it has a case of split personality. Like it goes back and forth. And that's when I realized, like, yeah, it totally does. There's half of it is me trying to come up, doing funky, fresh bass lines and fun little, synth leads and stuff. And then the other half is just like kind of like really aggressive, squashed, heavy, distorted, like attack songs. And so it just made sense to split them in half and do that. And so they're both the same running. They both are the same length. They both have 5 songs on them. Just one is pretty aggressive and one's very outrun, very 16th notes. And yeah, and it was a fun experiment to see which one was received better. And funny enough, this is the takeaway from that. So Hardware as a whole outperformed Heatwave for some inside baseball here. A lot more people dug Hardware than Heatwave, but people were into Heatwave, and which was neat. But Heatwave has by far the standout track, which is Viper Force, which I did with another Southern California act called Future Holotape. So that song, they blew up. That song ran off on its own. So that song outperformed everything else as far as streaming sites and stuff like that goes. But one of the big, neat, fun takeaways of that song is it ended up at an attraction at Universal Orlando called Halloween Horror Nights. So anybody who had gone into their cyberpunk horror arcade attraction would have heard Viper Force. So that was really exciting to know. When I eventually, later last year, when I played in Orlando, we got a lot of people that turned out and, are you going to play Viper Force? And I'm like, I can't. Ernest isn't here. Like, I'd love to, but yeah.
And I know myself, I'm really excited to see what you come out with next in the future, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing. What was the drive behind getting you into making music and performing live?
I've always dug making music. It's always been a big thing. It's been a big qualifying characteristic of my personality is creating and making stuff. And I have to create something every single day. I have to do something productive and make something. And with music, it was early on. I had my parents bought me a Yamaha keyboard, and I exploited every ability within that to make music as much as possible, and learned how to manipulate 2 tape recorders to do a really archaic version of multi-tracking, and I would make my little demos that way. And then, as time went on, I would start joining bands, and then I was always the guy that was like, everybody in the band's talking about, oh man, we need to get to a recording studio. And I'm like, fuck that noise. Let's pull our money and buy a 4-track and we'll record demos in my parents' garage, screw the studios. Like, let's do it. Let's not worry about letting things stop us and do it ourselves. And so I've always had that idea of do it myself, work really hard. So I just have always been that way, I guess. So I haven't been in a band in about a little over 10 years. I've been doing computer music, street cleaning, and that kind of thing. And I did street cleaner for a few years before I even entertained the idea of performing live. And it was James Mann, Syntax, who had goaded me out into performing live and convinced me that it's something that I should definitely try. And so he had really convinced me and wore me down to come on, you gotta do, we have a lot of fun, it's gonna be great, and he got me out to do my first show. And my very first show was at a bar in San Diego in I think December of 2015. And it was really bizarre because, I want to say maybe like 50 people had shown up, and I was playing my street cleaner music, and I saw all these people and I had their undivided attention, and that really blew me away that people would want to see that. And so from there, it just kind of snowballed and got bigger and bigger. And now that's all I think about is playing shows. And what can I do next? What can I innovate?
And I mean, here you are now. You are, you're performing shows, you're releasing albums. I mean, hell, you have a video game coming out pretty soon, right? In the fall. It's amazing. Like, you're constantly working, you're constantly staying on top of things. I don't think I've ever seen you have an area of downtime on something. Like, you're always tinkering away with something.
Yeah, I always have to be moving, man. Like, I always have to get stuff going, and I'm always juggling things, trying to get. I've only ever done street cleaner since I started doing street cleaner, and I know a lot of folks out there are get perturbed when one of their projects isn't moving along how they want it to or something. But you know, when you split yourself into 5 different, you know, avenues of production, and you're working on 5 different things, you can never go whole hog on one thing, because that means you're putting the other 4 to the side. So when I started doing Street Cleaner, I decided that that's all I'm going to do. So I haven't done anything else other than Street Cleaner, you know, as far as music goes, since Street Cleaner. So with that, I can give it my undivided attention. I can work on all sorts of stuff. And, you know, I've been lucky enough to you know, I believe be luck, being in the right place at the right time, knowing the right people, and earning it, you know, being the most qualified person for a job, I guess, is all really important. You know, if the shoe fits and you know, my shoe's the one that fits the best, then let's run with that. But I mean, there's, you know, yeah, I've got an album coming out later this year. It's going to be arranged versions of the music from the video game, as well as the soundtrack to the video game, as well as a video game, which will be out this fall, as well as there's some feature films that are coming out that have my music in it. I was really stoked to finally announce that I'm part of the Robo Doc, which is a really big deal to me. There's some other video games that I'm in that are coming out. There's a really big one right around the corner that I would just absolutely love to talk about, but I can't. You know, and so yeah, I've got lots of irons in the fire, and I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep trucking. I'm going to keep pushing. And when all is said and done and everything's over, I have myself a excellent corn chip bowl. I could just put all my snacks in here.
Well, that definitely is an excellent corn chip bowl. You know what? I'm super excited about everything that's going to be coming out from you soon. And I know a lot of people out there who love your music are really excited about all of the things that are going to be coming out from you. And I know as soon as all this is over, they're going to be filling up those venues because they need some street cleaning in their life.
Woo!
And we can't wait to have you back in Los Angeles soon. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, Future Daze. If you haven't yet, follow Future Daze on Instagram and Facebook. That way you're in the loop for all upcoming Future Daze events and Future Daze related events and just rad Southern California stuff.
Thank you for that. Be sure to follow Future Daze, guys. FUTUREDAZE. There you go. What are you looking forward to accomplishing the most moving forward?
I love touring. I'm lucky enough to go to the 4 corners of the country last year and get a lot of shows in, and that was really fun. It's one of the more fulfilling things, instant feedback, you know what I mean? And so what I'm looking forward to accomplishing would definitely be another tour, maybe a larger, more grandiose tour. See if I could go international at some point and do some cool stuff. As of right now, the way things are set up, I'm not even looking into setting something up. You know, we'll have to wait all this out, and then I'm sure every band in the world is going to be going on tour at the same time. So we'll see what all pans out. This game is something that Creaky Lantern Games has been working on since January of last year. It's no small undertaking. It's no trivial feat being able to produce something like this. The attention to detail within the game is so precise that while a lot of throwback retro game type things want to emulate the feeling of playing a retro game, this one has an air of authenticity to it that those just don't have. And it literally looks and plays exactly how you wished a 1988 NES game would play. And so I think as of right now, seeing the game get published, seeing it live is got to be the number one thing I'm most looking forward to accomplishing.
And I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited about getting my hands on that game, being able to play it. It just looks so great. And you're right. Even when you were talking about your shows, I am so looking forward to seeing you go international, because you would just clean up in a lot of other countries, I'm sure. Everybody internationally loves Street Cleaner. I mean, doing these artist interviews, like I've talked to other artists, and they all know you. They all know you. They all know of. They may not know you personally, but they all know of you and what you do. So I think that you going international is a great goal to have.
I would love it. I would love it. Maybe I should call up Ace Buchanan and see if he'll meet up with me at the Helsinki airport, and we can pal around. We'll hit up
Sounds like a great
Sweden.
time.
We'll hit up Norway. We'll hit up Denmark. We'll even go to Estonia. It's going to be awesome. I want to tell you about a personal goal of mine real quick. I would love to be the first synth artist to play in Antarctica. So, looking forward to that.
I would love to see that on a live stream.
Yeah, on a live stream.
What positive message would you give your fans out there?
This is a very positive message, but it can be taken in a negative way. But don't think about it that way. But this is something that I live by. Don't wait for permission. Stop asking for permission. Stop asking, is this synthwave? Stop asking, does this sound 80s? Stop waiting for a label to publish your album. You publish it. All the tools in the world are right at your fingertips. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's hard. It's a lot of work, but you have to do it. You have to do it. No one else, somebody very, 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 very fucking smart said to me, no one else is going to care about your music as much as you do. That was Jak Syn. So
actually, those are really wise words. But you know whose words those really were that I convey out of me? Those were Evie Strange's words. Those words right there. Nobody is ever going to care as much about anything that you do except you. That's it, in a nutshell. And that's very important. Those are really wise words to live by. And you're right, you can do whatever you want to do. You just have to do it. And I think that you don't have to ask for permission from people. Whatever you feel inside, you can convey. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to harp. I just see a lot of people with a lot of potential and a lot of promise hindered by the mental blockade that, this record, I submitted a song to this record label and they just sent me a generic rejection letter and blah, blah. Don't submit. Stop submitting. Don't submit songs. Don't do that kind of stuff. Do you. Take care of you. You want to make an album? Make an album. If you want artwork and say you're broke and you don't have any money to hire an artist or whatever, there's still other avenues. I've seen some artwork that obviously it looks like somebody drew it themselves, but you know what? I'll take that over a stock image album cover any day. You put that on just show people how much you care. So I'm passionate about this. This is something I'm really passionate about. If you run out of gas on the side of the freeway and you're standing there staring at oncoming cars with your hands out, no one's going to stop to help you. But if people see you walking down the highway with a gas can in your hand, they're going to pull over and they're going to pick you up and they're going to take you to a gas station because people want to help people that help themselves. So by doing your own artwork, by mastering or producing your own album, by doing everything yourself, you're showing the world, I'm working hard for me, I believe in me, and I'm investing in me. And when it comes to acts that maybe you already have an album, maybe you already have stuff going on, and you want merch, for example. Say you want records. Well, you know what? Invest in yourself. Pick up extra shifts. You have to make that money, and then buy those records so you could. If it's not worth anything to you for you to invest your own money in making records, then why should anybody invest in you and buy your records? Show people that you can stick your money where your mouth is. Go order shirts and have shirts made. Look, this is a Protector 101 shirt. It is made on next level cotton. It's beautiful glitter paint on it. This is one of my most favorite shirts ever. It was made by a let's talk about a boutique shirt company called AKA out of San Diego made these shirts. And let's just like be honest. Were they the cheapest? No. Are they the best? Fuck yes, they are. And that is Protector 101's way of showing you I'm not bottom of the barrel. I'm not going to get, I hate to harp on Gildan, but I'm not going to get cheap, poorly fit, hard, crunchy Gildan shirts. And I'm not going to get iron-on, covers. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and give a good product to people. That's what people want to see. So my advice to anybody who wants to do something is believe in yourself. And that means taking risks on yourself. Don't be afraid to fail. Keep on taking risks, and then shit will work out. And honestly, I'm not the biggest fucking, slice of cheese in the sandwich, but I love what I do. And I'm at the point now where I get to do this for a living. And that didn't happen in the first year. It didn't happen in the first 2 years. It didn't happen in the first 3 or 4 years. So stick with it. Believe in yourself. Work for yourself, and don't ask for permission. Just do. Make cool shit. Do cool shit. And I know that my rant went a little long on that, but that's something I firmly believe in, and I would love for people to take that and run with it.
Those are very important words there, very wise words. And I think to everybody out there, don't be afraid. Invest in yourself, invest in your art, invest in your music, invest in creating, and don't ever lose sight of who you are. Thank you so much for taking this time to sit with us today, Jesse.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you to everybody else out there for tuning in and taking this time to watch us have this conversation. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as more interviews are coming soon. Again, thank you, Jesse. We love you, and we can't wait to see you again next time.
Thank you very much, Jack. Stay cool.
You know what? You have a good day. And before I go, street cleaner.
Hey!
Yeah, it's one of my favorites there.
I just want to point out that Jak Syn and Evie own the only two black street cleaner laser guy shirt prints.
Yeah, so can't get these anywhere. These are custom, baby. Thank you again, and we will see you soon.